Think about the first movie that truly amazed you. The one that made you believe in adventure, magic, or wonder. There's a good chance that movie had Disney's fingerprints on it. Because whether it's a singing teapot, a swashbuckling pirate, or a superhero in distress, Disney has spent decades mastering one thing: making stories unforgettable. It's not just the animation, the music, or the spectacle. It's how these films become part of our collective memory. The first notes of The Lion King send chills down your spine. The twist in The Sixth Sense still lingers in the back of your mind. Mufasa's fall in The Lion King leaves an ache that never fades. These aren't just movies. They're moments that stick with you long after the credits roll. And it's not just about fairy tales. Who Framed Roger Rabbit was a technical marvel that almost didn't happen. Getting Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny in the same movie was an Olympic-level legal negotiation. The agreement between Disney and Warner Brothers was so detailed that both characters had to share the screen for the exact same amount of time, so neither studio could claim dominance. Meanwhile, Bob Hoskins, playing the human detective in a cartoon world, had to act against nothing, to the point where he started hallucinating the animated characters off-set. That's dedication and next-level method acting. And to think, the role almost went to someone else. Harrison Ford was the first choice, but his salary was too high. Bill Murray never even knew he was in the running. Producers just couldn't track him down. Eddie Murphy turned it down, misunderstanding the script, a decision he still regrets. Then there's Toy Story, the film that made Pixar a household name and turned computer animation from a curiosity into the industry standard. But getting there was anything but easy. Did you know that early versions of Woody were completely different? In the first drafts, he wasn't the loyal leader we know today. He was sarcastic, mean-spirited, and downright unlikable. Disney almost scrapped the project entirely, forcing Pixar to rethink the character. And the risks didn't stop there. Nobody knew if audiences would accept a fully CGI movie. But Toy Story wasn't just a technical leap. It was the start of something bigger. Pixar wasn't just an animation studio, it was a revolution in storytelling, one that transformed Disney from within after the acquisition. While traditional animation relied on fairy tales and musical numbers, Pixar told stories that felt fresh, grounded, and deeply human, no matter the character. By the time Toy Story 3 arrived, an entire generation who had grown up with Woody and Buzz found themselves ugly crying over a garbage incinerator scene. That's not just nostalgia, that's storytelling done right. And sometimes the biggest hits come from the strangest ideas. Pirates of the Caribbean should never have worked. A theme park ride turned into a multi-billion-dollar franchise? With a lead character so bizarre that Disney execs at first thought Johnny Depp's interpretation was ruining the film. And yet here we are, with Jack Sparrow cemented as one of the most memorable anti-heroes in movie history. It's not all action and adventure either. Pretty Woman was originally meant to be a much darker drama about a struggling sex worker before evolving into the charming, modern Cinderella story that made Julia Roberts a superstar. And that famous moment where Richard Gere snaps the jewelry box shut on her hand? It wasn't a scripted romantic gesture. It was a prank. Director Gary Marshall had Gere do it to wake up Roberts, who sometimes came to set a little sleepy. Originally meant for the gag reel, the moment was so endearing they decided to keep it in. In the end, that spontaneous laugh became one of the film's most iconic scenes. Then there are movies so outlandish, you have to wonder what was going through the studio execs' minds when they greenlit them. Like Armageddon, a movie where oil drillers have to become astronauts in order to blow up an asteroid to save the world. Sounds ridiculous, right? But somehow, it became an emotional roller coaster, delivering one of the most gut-wrenching goodbyes in action movie history. Then there's WALL-E, an animated film with almost no dialogue, yet tells one of Pixar's most profound stories. Beneath the surface of a lonely robot cleaning up Earth is a quiet reflection on humanity, how we create, consume, and ultimately how we reconnect. For a movie about a trash-compacting robot, it says more about the human condition than most live-action films ever could. Disney doesn't just make movies, they create cultural touchstones. These aren't just films, they're milestones in people's lives, tied to childhoods, families, and personal memories. Finding Nemo isn't just about a lost fish. It's about anxiety, parenthood, and learning when to let go. Inside Out doesn't just explore emotions. It makes audiences reflect on their own childhoods in ways they never expected. The Incredibles balances high-stakes superhero action with deeply human struggles, from midlife crises to family tensions. But Disney's ability to create lasting impact isn't just about great storytelling. It's about reinvention, which is their bread and butter nowadays. Frozen wasn't just another princess movie. It flipped the classic true love narrative by making the real bond between two sisters, subverting decades of tradition. Zootopia packaged social commentary into a fun, buddy cop adventure, tackling themes of bias and discrimination in a way that was digestible for all ages. Guardians of the Galaxy took one of Marvel's most obscure properties and turned it into one of the studio's most beloved franchises, proof that Disney understands how to turn risks into rewards. And reinvention isn't new for Disney. It's part of their DNA. The so-called Disney Renaissance of the late 80s and 90s, The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, The Lion King, wasn't just a return to form. It was a company-saving rebirth. Before that, they spent years struggling to recapture the magic of their early success. But by focusing on Broadway-style musicals and character-driven storytelling, they didn't just reclaim their place in animation, they redefined it. Disney has always known how to tell a great story, but in the last 2 decades, they've also mastered something else: acquiring them. Buying Pixar in 2006 didn't just give them a hit machine. It secured the future of animation under their roof. The same goes for Marvel in 2009, turning a collection of B-list superheroes into the biggest cinematic universe ever. And when they bought Lucasfilm in 2012, they ensured Star Wars would never fade into nostalgia. But they didn't stop there. In 2019, they bought 20th Century Fox, because apparently 3 major franchises weren't enough. That deal didn't just give them Avatar and The Simpsons. It meant they now owned so much of Hollywood that even their competitors had to rent office space from them. At this point, they aren't just making movies anymore, they're collecting entire legacies, like Infinity Stones. If they ever buy Universal, we might see Fast and Furious, a Star Wars family story in theaters. And in case you're wondering how much all these deals cost, almost $90 billion. That's enough to buy every single person on Earth a Disney Plus subscription, and still have cash left over to remake The Lion King again. Box office success is one thing, but legacy is another. These films don't just make money, they shape generations and leave a lasting legacy. The Lion King remains one of the highest-grossing animated films ever, but its true achievement is how deeply its story of loss and legacy resonates across audiences. The Avengers didn't just create a franchise, it redefined blockbusters for better or worse. Moana introduced Polynesian mythology to millions, proving that Disney's commitment to diverse storytelling isn't just a trend, it's an evolution of its core mission. This isn't just movie making, it's world building. It's shaping nostalgia in real time. Even in an era of streaming wars, reboots, and shifting audience expectations, Disney doesn't just survive, it thrives. Whether you love or roll your eyes at its dominance, one thing is undeniable. It's still defining the way we experience movies. Before I wrap up, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and let me know which movie takes you back to your childhood. And if you are feeling brave, the special memory connected to it.